So Nisha, what is the slobbiest thing you've seen somebody do?
Probably leave the bin so it overflows where things are just falling out.
Don't do that. It's not nice. When she wasn't having a stream of air blown into her cooch at Mach 3, Marilyn Monroe, like most of us, spent a lot of her time at home lounging around not doing very much. However, in contrast to the nice girl but wouldn't melt image Monroe maintained throughout her career, she was actually a huge slob at home, to such an extent many of her maids and lovers refused to go into her house.
So even her maids wouldn't go in?
Yeah, the people she was literally paying to clean and maintain her home. And this being Marilyn Monroe, I'm guessing she paid them quite well. Because obviously, not only are you paying the maid to clean, you're paying the maid to shut the fuck up. Because obviously, if you're like a very high-profile starlet, you want a very good maid who's very discreet and very good at their job and who's just quiet and there and just does what they're told and then leaves. And according to many of Monroe's former maids and housekeepers, they were just up and quit because of how messy she was.
Right, so do we have an example of someone who's seen this mess?
We do, yes. We have one Lena Pepitone, which I'm hoping I'm pronouncing correctly, who is one of Monroe's former housekeepers, who reported that not only was Monroe just incredibly messy and lackadaisical about just the general cleanliness of the place that she lived, but she could frequently be found lounging around her house, surrounded by piles of rubbish in dirty clothes. Which, to be fair, sounds like something we've all done at one point or another, but it does contrast somewhat with the image people probably have of Marilyn Monroe in their mind, like the most beautiful woman on the planet, like the most desirable, wanted, sought after woman on the face of the earth. And she spent almost all of her free time lounging around her house in dirty clothes, just eating pizza and shit.
Yeah, I imagine like a lot of people, when you say Marilyn Monroe, what would you think her house looked like? You think
impeccable.
Pristine.
Yeah, pristine, spotless. Because obviously she's rich as fuck and she's got maids to take care of that stuff. But no, many of her maids would just up and quit because they couldn't deal with the mess she would leave behind.
You mentioned earlier that her lovers would also leave.
Yes, and this is where this story gets ridiculous. Like we said, this is Marilyn fucking Monroe. This is this woman. Like, I think the very first Playboy centerfold, I think Marilyn Monroe, that's one of the distinctions she has. Yeah. Right? People who, like, you know, had the chance, like, you know, to date Marilyn Monroe, to go home with her, to spend the evening in her bed, would sometimes think twice when they saw how she lived. And for the people at home, guys and girls, I want to ask you an honest question that I'd like to answer in the comments, right? Think very hard about the hottest person that you know. And now think to yourself, how dirty would that person's apartment have to be before you, in your mind, would not go home and sleep with them? Because apparently Marilyn Monroe was that fucking dirty. Like, think about that. Think about how insane that is. The most beautiful woman on the planet. People are like, it's not worth it.
Yeah, it's like that episode of Friends.
It is. It's exactly that episode of Friends.
Ross goes to that woman's house, you know, to hook up with her, and her apartment is just covered and he can't sit anywhere, and he's like, I think he goes back again.
Yeah, he has that because he has this exact discussion with Joey, and he says, how hot is she? Is she hot enough to overlook how dirty it is? And Ross even goes, I think she might be. That is the exact conversation several men had in their lifetime in regards to Marilyn Monroe.
Do you have an example of like a time where someone has said she's been really disgusting?
Yeah, we have a story from one Clark Gable, who was romantically linked to Marilyn Monroe, who said that he was very nearly put off ever dating her in the first place due to her annoying and, like, in his own words, that disgusting habit of eating food in bed nude. Which at first actually sounds kind of awesome. Yeah. It's like, who out there wouldn't want to spend time in bed with the most beautiful woman on earth, completely naked eating food? So let's just take a step back, and I think it's fair to say, Nisha, at one point in either of our lives, we've both been in bed eating food, correct?
Yep.
And what's like the most disgusting thing you've had in bed?
Probably McDonald's.
So you had a McDonald's in bed. It's pretty awesome, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I've done the same. I've had a pizza when I'm in bed when I'm hungover, right? What do you do when you're finished with the food?
I usually just put the rubbish in the takeaway bag it comes in, and then put it on the floor.
On the floor, or on a bedside table.
Yeah,
and I think, like, Lucas, have you ever had that moment after when you're in uni, or you wake up the next day, look over and see the kebab of shame?
Mate, I slept in my takeaway.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no.
So you had that. You fell asleep with your takeaway in your bed. Well.
Yeah.
Marilyn Monroe did something more disgusting than that, because she didn't fall asleep because she was drunk. What she would do is, when she'd finished with her food that she was eating in bed, she would get the plate and then just scrape it underneath her sheet, put the sheet over it, and sleep on the other side of the bed.
Oh no.
Now, bear in mind, I said her maids would quit all the time. So sometimes the maid wouldn't clean it up for several days.
Oh.
And she would do that repeatedly. So she would put old food on top of old food that was left under the bed and sleep on the other side. And then guys would come over and then she'd say, oh, come to bed. And there'd be 3-day-old food with 2-day-old food.
Oh no, just thought of him getting into bed and just hearing this squelch noise, like, what is that?
That reminds me of perhaps the most annoyed I have ever been with another human. And it's when I was with me and my little brother were at my mum's, and we both got like our pocket money and went to the shop and got some crisps. And he got beef and onion crisps. And what he did is he put his beef and onion crisps in my pillow. And I remember he just went, it's like proper, just like jabbed the shit out of my pillow. And like, right, that thing we just sat there like casual, and, elbow drop. When I come in, what's that smell? I go to my pillow and it's beef and onion crisps all inside. So I have to get the pillowcase, waft it outside the window. The problem is that I can't tell my mum because she's just done the washing and we know we'll get in trouble. So we can't tell her. So I had to sleep on my pillow and all the night my brother said he could just hear my head on a roll of the crunch of the crisps. I'm rolling around just like with my head on this crunchy beef smelling pillow and woke up in the morning smell like beef. But now imagine that, but it's just a 3-day-old takeaway.
The worst food that smells when you've left it is milk.
Oh, milk's awful.
It's disgusting. That is the worst thing I've ever smelled.
But I will say though, just a day-old kebab, when you just look at it and you go, I can't believe I even thought about eating that.
Yeah, well, this doesn't change the fact that Marilyn Monroe is one of the most beautiful women ever.
To have ever lived, yes. Yeah. But I think it makes her more relatable to me because like she's often held up as this like impossible ideal to strive towards. Like she's the most beautiful, like completely unapproachable in terms of like how impossibly attractive and like amazing she was. And it's just really nice to think, no, when she wasn't on a film set and all dolled up, she was just sat around her house naked eating pizza. Just been a huge fucking slob and absolutely loving it.
I'd be the same though. Like a lot of days I just put my joggers on. If I'm sat editing videos,
why not? Yeah.
What is the point of putting like jeans on or whatever? Just sat on a chair all day, like.
But the idea is that the most beautiful woman in the world did that, and she did it to such an extent. People are like, I can't handle it. And I think that saying is now true. It's like, if you can't handle me my worst, you don't deserve my best. Yeah. I think that statement now has just like so much more context around it because people actually couldn't.
If you can't handle her messiness, you don't deserve it at all.
You don't, yeah. If you can't wade through that 4-day-old food to get into her bed, you don't deserve to plough Marilyn Monroe. So Nisha, in the past when we were at university, we did flat share for a bit, and
yeah.
I would like to say I'm a very, very tidy person. Maybe to an extent that others would find annoying. I'm not sure how annoying you found it, but so I don't really have many stories about me being dirty, but I have so many stories about other people being messy.
It makes me laugh when I think about it because before I lived with you, I had housemates I lived with before, like the couple of years before, that were messy, and I felt clean and tidy. And then when I lived with you, I felt like the messy one because you were so much more clean and tidier.
Well, the thing is, that goes back to when I was a kid and I had to share a room with my little brother. And my little brother was tidier than I am. Yeah. And my dad was tidier than everyone. So I've told a story before about my dad where we would get told off if we left fingerprints on a doorknob.
Really?
Because if we left one, so we had to open the door without pressing the doorknob. So if my dad saw fingerprints on the doorknob after he polished, he'd get annoyed.
That's extreme.
He also once hoovered the lawn. Anyway, so I grew up like in that kind of thing, and I think there's some minor OCD in the Smallwood family where me, both of my brothers, and my dad and his dad would always make sure our beans were on the left-hand side of our cupboard. So any cupboard, if like a small, you always go in, there's always beans on the side.
Okay.
So it's just little things like that we picked up on. So I picked up like that habit of cleanliness. But I remember my first year, I had a very, very messy housemate. And he had this awful habit of making soup in the microwave, but he wouldn't put anything over the top of his bowl.
Oh, so would it get all over
It'd
the
splatter,
inside?
and then so the microwave looks fine, and so you just go, and it just looks like you microwaved an alien in there or something. It's terrible.
Yeah.
And we just kept saying, please clean the microwave because we can't use it because it just smells like hot soup all the time. And we got so annoyed that he wouldn't clean it. We got a sofa from the front room, dragged it in front of his bedroom door, stood it upright so it was completely blocking up his door, and then put the microwave on top of it, opened it up and put a sign inside that said, clean me. So when he woke up for uni in the morning, he couldn't get out. And we just heard, like, later that day we came in, the microwave was clean. It's like, that's what you need.
That's what you get.
Sometimes you just got to teach me, like, fucking, like, clean the microwave.
You just have to be, like, passive-aggressive about it.
You've got to do it, it's so funny.
I'm one of those people that Like, I kind of get annoyed secretly. It annoys me because I'm terrible at confrontation, but I was just like, yeah, be really annoyed, but I won't say anything. I just kind of leave the person's mess and be really petty about it. Like, I'm not cleaning it. I clean my stuff. Like, I wash my pots.
We did not clean the microwave. So I remember there was like a 6-month period where I kept all my cutlery in my room and washed it in my shower. Because because the sink was constantly full of shit. So what I'd do is I'd just run my shower on boiling hot, because obviously it's an ensuite student flat, run it on boiling hot for about 20 minutes, put all my stuff in there, bring it out, like leave it on a towel on my bed when I went to uni, come back and it's all dry. Because if I left it in the front room, someone would just take it.
I'm hoping that living with me and like other people wasn't as bad as that.
Oh no, it wasn't, no.
We weren't as messy as that.
But I get really... What about you, Lucas? Any stories?
Yeah, so once I came back to my student halls from a week back home, and I just found a pile of every single one of my pots, pans, plates, cutlery, with a note on it saying "clean me." And I was like, "What?" Went into the living room. Well, your stuff was dirty. I haven't been here for a week. Oh. Did you all take out my cupboard? Well, yeah, maybe a little bit. Oh, so then you used all my shit, made it dirty, and then left it outside my door for me to clean?
Yeah. We had to do it with one of our housemates once. So we'd left it in the sink for about... I'm not sure how long it was in, but I know that his pans went rusty. They were in the sink that long, they went rusty. So what we did is he pulled them all out, double bagged it in a black bin liner, filled it up with washing up liquid, poured water in it, tied the top and shook it up like that and left it outside his door. And just went, if you do, every time you leave it in, we're going to do that again. Because we're so sick, none of us can use the fucking sink. There's 5 people. I don't know how people live like it. It makes me uncomfortable to see it, and I don't know how people do it.
I can understand like a little bit of mess, a little bit, it's hard to keep on top of being tidy, but when you leave it to that extent, I don't understand how people can live like that.
For the first 6 months they lived with me, this magical, mystical being called the Karl fairy would clean it up. Until I realised, no, I'm not fucking doing it. And then they get like, why is everything so dirty? Because you're not fucking cleaning it. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm going to clean my own stuff. I want to be doing the washing up, and I wash up all my pans. And then put my pans back in my cupboard. And then put the fucking zip tie on it. So, why are you cleaning everyone's stuff? Because it's not my fucking stuff, is it?